Now, Dave Brat is a Republican in Virginia. You may remember him from his upset win against Eric Cantor. Now, one of the things that he wrote, that he ran on, was that he was against political corruption. He was against the banks and against money in politics. Now, he painted his opponent, Eric Cantor, as completely bought by special interests and basically said, look, Eric Cantor doesn't serve you. He serves the rich. He's the servant of the rich and powerful. He's the money man. Which, look, a lot of his friends on Capitol Hill, or friends, called him the money guy. Yeah, Eric Cantor, he's the guy who goes out, sucks off rich people, and gets money. He gets paid for it. And he gets to party all of this donor money. That's why he's got to go. He serves the rich. Well, let's fast forward to today, right? Eric Cantor is gone. Dave Brat is in. And he's basically going to, in an interview with Sandy Rios, defend policies that help the rich and powerful.
So the left, right off the bat, right, gets us into this class division dialogue. The billionaires versus poor versus, it's not about that. That kind of language was back at Karl Marx, but it was not at our founding. And for the last 200 years, we have a growth record because we didn't get into those petty debates on these class divisions the way we are now, and it's killing us.
Okay, so basically, he's claiming that, what, class warfare? No, of course we're not having class warfare. It's not billionaires versus poor people. No. Of course not. It's just the leftists coming up with this to stick it to the rich. Okay, well, let's look at the facts. We are actually in a class war, right? The problem is that they're winning. See, that's why wages are so stagnant. Union membership is at the lowest point in modern history. And, oh yeah, the rich and powerful have captured nearly all of the gains since the end of the so-called recession. The poor, however, we have not recovered. The middle class has been squeezed to the breaking point, and all the money is at the top. These billionaires purchase our politicians to write favorable laws and legislation for them, and then they stick us to the bill. Now, if that is not class warfare, then I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Now, the second part, if you listen, is where he actually mentioned this is not how we were founded, right? That's stuff that Karl Marx said. The founders, they didn't say anything about wealthy or the wealthy people or the corporations. Well, that's not true, because when you look at the founding fathers, they actually hated big corporations, especially banks. For example, Thomas Jefferson said, I hope we shall crush in its birth the aristocracy of our moneyed corporations, which dare already to challenge our government to a trial by strength, and bid defiance to the laws of our country. John Adams said, banks have done more injury to the religion, morality, tranquility, prosperity, and even wealth of the nation than they can have done or ever will do good. You get a theme there? They kind of don't like banks. But wait, it's not just the founders. Here's Abraham Lincoln. Now, in 1864, he wrote a letter to Colonel William F. Elkins. And in this letter, he wrote, quote, as a result of war, corporations have been enthroned and an era of corruption in high places will follow. And the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until all wealth is aggregated in a few hands, and the republic is destroyed. I feel at this moment more anxiety for the safety of my country than ever before, even in the midst of war. God grant that my suspicions may prove groundless. Well, unfortunately, right now, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, by the way, but we're speaking about a Republican, so the party of Lincoln, essentially, is now okay with the moneyed interests and money corporations running our politics and aggregating money into the hands of the billionaires. And as I mentioned, so is the Democratic Party. Now, as far as this goes, Lincoln, he would be spinning in his grave right now. Spinning in his grave. Now, Brat is going to continue defending the rich, and then, of course, Sandy Rios is going to add a little bit more onto this. Let's listen.
And so we have to defend against people who have been hugely successful in the world, making money, knowing how to structure deals, etc., going to work on behalf of our government. We shouldn't apologize. We should be praising these people and thanking them They're going from being billionaires to doing hard work in the public sector for peanuts compared to what they're getting paid for.
Well, I think part
we ought to be praising them, and thank goodness we're due for a turn.
Yeah, I know that of course you know. The confusion is that free market capitalism and crony capitalism are not the same thing, and so there's a door
Right.
that people like Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are walking through, because it's a twist and a perversion, and even free trade, as you said, is not free. It's being controlled, and it's become a system in which to enrich people in an unfair way. And by the way, to prove your point about communism, that the things they're talking about, the class system, et cetera, the language they're using, the Communist Party USA is full bore embracing the Hillary Clinton campaign. I'm sure they would embrace Bernie Sanders if he'd been the nominee too.
Right,
But it really, there's no wiggle room between their platform and Hillary Clinton's.
So basically, look, some of the stuff that she said about crony capitalism is actually true. The problem is that both major parties have accepted that that's the way it is, and are fighting to continue the system of crony capitalism. And why? That's because money and politics. Now, these guys, Sandy Rios and Dave Brock, they're not doing anything about it. In fact, this is the party that wants to eliminate all restrictions on corporate money going into our politics. That's awful, and that's definitely against what the Founding Fathers had said. Now, as far as the billionaires go, right? Brat says, oh, well, we should be thanking them because they worked so hard. Well, the problem is that that's also not entirely true. Unfortunately, a lot of our billionaires right now are only rich because their family were rich. They've got that generational wealth. Now, not all of them. There are ones that brought us some pretty amazing things. For example, like Bill Gates. Now, Bill Gates spent most of his high school years being stuffed in his locker. So he comes out with the computer with Microsoft and builds a giant-ass business. And now he's incredibly successful, and he's been rewarded already by being fucking rich. I don't think he cares if any of us peons say, oh, thank you, Mr. Gates. Oh, thank you. Or the founder of Apple, okay, Steve Jobs, if he were still alive, right? I don't think he cares. I think, like, hey, get the fuck off my lawn and stop thanking me. I'm already super rich. What are you doing? So, look, here's another example. I'm not going to sit here and thank the Walton family for paying people so little that it forces them to go on government assistance to survive so they can make an extra buck. And I'm also not going to thank Donald Trump, who, by the way, inherited his money and now is demanding praise for it, right? And has screwed people out of money. Look at Trump University, right? I'm not going to sit here and thank him for doing that or for taking advantage of bankruptcy laws that allow rich people like him to declare bankruptcy and get out of paying their bills, screwing over their investors, screwing over their employees, screwing over the taxpayers, while students can never discharge their student loans through bankruptcy and are hounded through the rest of their life with crushing debt. This is what progressives are talking about. And people like Dave Brat want to defend Trump for rewarding these people who already pay low enough taxes as it is, right? They want to reward these people with more money. This is the thing that we should all be fighting against. This is the crony capitalist system. There are no free markets here. And if you want to point out, hey, things would be much better with a free market. Well, there's no such thing as a free market, because the market on its own, without any regulations, it will consolidate itself and become a monopoly. Companies are not altruistic. What they are, corporations are soulless, heartless machines. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But what they need is checks and balances. What they need is rules to operate in. Because without rules, they will do whatever it takes to make money, because that is their sole function. They have to be limited. They have to be limited. And the problem is, as I said, in America, we have no free market because there is no such thing. Now, right now, it's rigged by the billionaires and large corporations for their own benefit, because we don't have the rules. We have not stopped them from doing so because we have this perverse system of money in politics that incentivizes doing the corporation's bidding for campaign contributions. Now, this is unfortunately exactly what John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln had been warning us against. They've been warning us. Now, finally, Sandy Rios. I've got to point this out. She may be the dumbest woman in America for essentially conflating the Democratic platform with the Communist Party platform. While it is true that the leader of the United States Communist Party goes, I don't know, I guess I'd rather go with Hillary than Bernie Sanders or than anyone else. What do you think, the Communist Party is going to go for Donald Trump? Come on. While that's true, you can't really conflate their platforms. See, this is said by someone who doesn't understand how vastly different communism is to Hillary Clinton's Democratic platform. When you look at it, it's miles apart. And why? It's because she does not understand the meaning of actual communism. Communism means state ownership over all the means of production, all of them, meaning that there will be no private industry. Clinton, for all intents and purposes, as I've pointed out, and a lot of my criticisms for her, is too pro-corporate. The Democratic Party is too pro-corporate. They're too pro-banker. They're too pro-billionaire. In fact, that's why you see major donors in the corporate world, corporate donors lining up behind Hillary Clinton. The corporations, no. They're with her. They're with her. And this is while Rios is spouting nonsense about communism. And while she's doing that, she's defending a proto-fascist, racist, misogynistic, supposed billionaire who probably would have been richer had he not done anything with that money but putting into a CD and just live off the fucking interest. No. Dave Brat is a hypocrite for supporting the very thing, the very kind of person that he supposedly fought against. And look, that's unfortunately where we're at in today's politics. You either go along with the system or you're out. We've got to get the money out of politics. Hey everybody, if you like this video, then please like this video and share. And if you want to see more like this, then please hit that subscribe button below.